So good morning all. Let me start off with sharing the screen. Okay, I hope the screen is visible. Anyone can acknowledge?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's have a quick recap of what we did in the previous class. We already saw the methods. We were dealing with the different types of methods in the strings, right? We saw join and split strings in the previous class, and in the last class we discussed the justification text methods that we have, right? Justification, left justification, center, and also method which deals with the stripping of the strings, right? Right from the left strip or right strip or just the strip method. So what we'll do is it will remove the white spaces, a blank space or a tab space or a next line, new line characters like those. And also we saw a module, very important module called a PyPerClip, right? Which is like actually a Python per clip module, which is used to copy a text and store it into the clipboard, internal clipboard, which is internal to the computer, and whatever you copy, it will be temporarily stored in that clipboard, and later wherever we want, we can paste it, right? So Hyperclip is a module, and it has methods or functions like copy as well as paste, right? So we saw a simple example of how do we import this module, how do we call, and when we get a copy of a particular text which is copied using a paperclip module. Later we can use it anywhere to paste it. So I think this is where we stop. So in today's class, it will be a little more interesting because whatever we have done so far, whatever the methods, we have learned so many different methods with respect to the strings, right? So few of them are very basic, which are mostly not used, but there are few of them which are really useful enough, very extensively used. Right. So in today's lecture, we will be creating a program. It's a kind of a small project, right? You can, those who are doing a laptop, I would prefer those who have laptop with them, please open your laptop and we can start coding something today. We will have a small, very interesting project which will deal with a few of the modules that we have learned here in the strings methods, different methods of the strings. And using those modules, we are going to create a project called Password Locker, right? So, as the name suggests, it is just a password locker which will keep some of the passwords within the program. And the reason, the main motive or objective of being that having this program is, for example, we all have so many different accounts, right? We have different accounts on email IDs, Gmail or any other email ID, or different accounts like Facebook account or Instagram account, WhatsApp account, uh, banking accounts. We have different account name in different banks. So we have so many accounts, and for every account there is a password attached to it, right? So it is when a person has a lot of accounts, it becomes difficult to remember all the passwords, right? If you have few accounts, you might remember it, but when you have multiple accounts, many banks accounts, and many different types of accounts, then remembering all the passwords, it becomes difficult, right? Unless you have the same password for all the accounts, right? That's an exception. But usually we don't prefer having the same password for all the accounts, right? For the security reason. So having different types of accounts, so many accounts, and having different passwords for those accounts, then it becomes a little difficult to remember those passwords. Right. So this program, what we are going to do today, the password locker, what it is going to do is this program will just store all your passwords. Of course, you are going to create this program, so you are going to save the password within the program. And the main usage of this program is to retrieve the password or copy the password in the clipboard for whatever account that you ask for. For example, let's say I don't remember the password of my Facebook account and I just want to copy the password for my Facebook account, which I have stored in this program, right? The password locker, right? So what I have to do is I have to just execute this program and I have to mention Facebook. That's it, right? And it will automatically copy the password that I have stored within the program for Facebook account. Similarly, for example, let's say I want to recall the password or log in into my email ID, college email ID, right? But I don't remember the password. But I have stored that password when I've created the account and credentials for that. I have stored that in the password locker program. So I do have the updated password in this program. But for time being, I don't remember that password. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just execute this program, and I'm going to mention the account, that is my email ID, as the input to this program, and this program will in turn automatically copy the password for my email and will store it temporarily. Now what I have to do is I have to just go to the Gmail ID or email, and I have to just paste that password, and there I go, I can log in it. So the motive here is just to keep a track of all the passwords, and the program will itself copy the password. You don't have to remember. You have to just mention the which account you want the password for, right? So though this program might be not much secure, because anybody having the access to this program, those who know that you have so and so program, they can just open this program and have the view on all your passwords. But unless and until you keep password or keep this file secure, you are still having better probability of keeping the passwords, all the passwords secure, right, and not getting forgotten. So, with this overview, let me quickly have a first glance of what all things that we are going to do, right? And then we will step by step execute the program by every instruction that we are going to see here, right? So, step one in the program is to first of all design the whole program and what are the different data structures that would be requiring here, right? Second step is to handle the command line argument. Now, why command line argument is because the reason is we are not going to just execute this program in the Python ideally or something like that, right? We are going to make the command, the Windows command to execute this particular program. So in order to do that, we are going to make some instructions which are related to the command line arguments, and hence we are going to handle the command line arguments here, right? So we are not going to execute this program the traditional way that we used to do earlier, right? In the Python, ideally, pressing F5, we just execute the program, right? But here we are going to make the program execute. We are going to make the command line, the command prompt execute this program. Fine. And the last step in the program will be just to copy the right password associated with that account, whatever that account can be, right? So I hope you got that. This is the overall structure of this program, this small project called Password Lock. Now, with this, let's understand how would this program, we can design this program, and what are the different data structure that would be requiring, right? So let me make the font a little more big. Yeah. So the first step in this designing the program is to open the new file. Of course, the new file editor, anything. For example, you can open the Python ideally itself, or if anybody who is making use of Anaconda, you can make use of Spider in that, or any particular any other text editor, whatever it is, but you have to take care accordingly, whichever text editor that you're using. So I'll stick it to the Python ideally itself, because since most of our program we have executed in the Python ideally, so I believe you must be familiar with the environment. So we will go ahead with the Python ideally itself. And once we open, let's say we open this Python ideally, right? What you guys have to do it, those who are there with me, I recommend everybody to be there and available with the laptop, right? So that it becomes easier for to track any kind of adversities that you face here. So once you open your interactive shell, the Python ideally, you have to just create a new file, right? How we usually do it, and then you have to mention the Python shebang, right? The shebang looks something like this, right? Python shebang. Now, shebang is actually the indication to the system from the Python that this is the Python program which you have to execute. So it will help the our command prompt to identify that this is the program, the Python program that I have to execute, right? So as you can see here, this is Shebang, right? So in detail, if you want this thing into more detail, you can go and visit the appendix B, right? And those who are using other operating system like Linux or iOS, you can go visit the way to execute these programs into those operating systems in the appendix B. Okay, so once I have this text, the open file editor, new file editor, our program starts with the shebang. Without this, your program will never get executed. And then you have to mention that after shebang, you have to mention that it's a Python file that I have to execute. And let me open it. It's the Python file that I'm going to execute it. And since this is my Python tree, I'm going to say Python tree, right? So this is the starting point, and then whatever the instructions that you have to give for the program, you can start giving here, right? But let's say just name this program as something like, let's say, PW. So we'll keep the name same as the author, because these programs will be using in the further modules as well as our fundamental basic programs, right? We will be having some more changes into these programs. That's why uh, I would prefer you to say save these files with the same name as we are doing it here in the book. So let's go ahead and save it with pw.py. This is just a comment that I'm adding into the uh, file itself, right? So it's a comment, as you can see, it has been started off with hash. It's a single inline comment, single line comment, and let's name it as password lock, right? So now we are ready to start off with the code. Now, before to start off with the code, let me make you understand that in order to store, right, in order to store multiple uh, you know keys and values, we for example, key here will be the email, the account itself, right? Whatever that account is, for example, your email account or your Facebook account or your Instagram account or whatever your account, and the value will be the password for that particular account, right? So now we have something like a key as well as value pair. Now, since we have key and value pair, it is best suggested that we are going to use what? Can anybody suggest?
Dictionaries.
Dictionaries.
Very good, very good. So, because list or tuples or just a simple string cannot have the both keys and value pair, it is the dictionary that can give us that key and value pair, right? So, we are going to make use of dictionaries here to store our account as well as our passwords, right? For, let's say, for example, here the author has used account as its email ID and its password. I mean, the account name is email, or its blog, or it can be whatever, right? So for time being here, we are going to create a dictionary called passwords, and in that you can give whatever name that you want to give here. But the author here has given the account as his email, his blog, and his luggage. That luggage can be anything, right? Luggage, maybe put the password for his luggage bag, right? So these are the just three keys that we have added, and its corresponding value. Value here is nothing but the password for his email, password for his blog, and password of his luggage bag. So you can add whatever you want. So this is actually very practical program. You can use it in your real time instead of having the password saved in your mobile or in your Google Keep Notes or any note pad. You can just have this program, this Python program, saved in your Google Drive, and you can and you can keep this one file securely so that all other passwords are secure in within this, right? So this program you can actually use it in your real life. Okay, with this, let's go ahead now. We have formed the dictionary. We are ready with our accounts as well as our passwords, right? Now the next step is to access them. How can we make a command prompt uh, access these account as well as the password? In turn, how can we make this command accessible for this our program, our program called pw.py, right? So let's get into some of the details with the command line argument. How can we handle it, right? So since the command prompt, it is actually the system feature, right? Command is something from the system. It's not application oriented. It's system oriented. So we have to import the module called system, right? We have an inbuilt module called system called sys, right? SYS, which I think you can recall what we have learned in maybe in our second or third lecture. We saw different types of modules, right? When we were discussing how to import module, we saw there is another module called sys, which is a system module. So since command prompt is a system facility, we have to import the system module. And since we are going to make use of the command line arguments, we have to call the argument also. So for that, we have to first import the system and then we have to perform other operations. Now, what are these other operations? We will see. We will see one by one. Right. Now, first thing is we have to import the system module. Once you have the system module imported, you have to check for the length of the arguments that we are going to supply for the command line, right? Why? Because the command line argument takes minimum the command line takes minimum two arguments, right? So we have to check whether the argument is actually minimum two or no, right? So we are checking the length of this system dot argument as less than two or no. Right. Why two? Because one will be the argument itself, right? And the other one will be the value that we are going to pass, right? The value will be the account name, let's say account name, right? So like the first item in the system.arg should always be the string containing the program's file name. So the first argument, as I said, the argument is the file itself, and the second argument should be the first command line argument. Second item in the command line should be the first command line argument, right? Which is nothing but the account name here in this case. So just to give you a syntax of how it would look, what we are going to do is we are going to just simply print a statement for the better understanding of to the user that how are we going to use this command line argument is the usage goes something like this. The then Python itself with first argument being the name of the file and second argument being the account. Now, this account can be your email account, your blog or luggage or whatever, Instagram or Facebook or bank account, whatever, right? Or it can be any other special key or password that you have saved something for some other equipment or devices, right? Fine. So I hope you got this, how the command line argument would be operating, right? So we have to check whether we are passing minimum two arguments. So this checking is done here. When this is true, we are going to get inside and prompt the user that Python pw.py, which is the file name, followed by the account should be the syntax. And it will copy the account password, right? And then once we do this, we are going to simply exit from the system. Now from here, what will happen is whatever the argument returns, right? Whatever it will return will be stored into the system.arg1, and that will be stored in the variable called account, right? So this is basically the first line argument is the account name. Now the whole program doesn't end here, right? Now we have just simply given the access to the command prompt to make use of our program, Python program, and get the details from our dictionary, right? Now the program doesn't end here. We have to copy and paste these passwords also, right? So in order to do that, as we have seen in the previous class, we had we have a method or a module called paperclip module, right? So what it does it is used to copy as well as paste the text or a string, right? So what it does it is a module which actually copies a text, temporarily stores into its internal clipboard, and then you can paste it wherever you want, either in the program or in the terminal at the output, or wherever you want, right? So we are going to make use of this paperclip by importing this let's go ahead and import Paperclip module, right? So we say import Paperclip, and once we import it, we are going to now get into the password dictionary. But when we get into the dictionary, we have to first check whether the account which we have given is there in the dictionary or no. So here we are going to use the in operator, right? So if account is present in dictionary passwords, we are going to get inside, we are going to copy the password for that particular account, and then we are going to simply for the user understanding, we are going to prompt the user that password for so and so account, whatever the account that the user has entered, is copied to the clipboard. So this is simple concatenation of different strings as well as values, and this is a message that we want to convey to the user that we have copied it successfully. Right now, once we have copied it, if once we have copied it, the next thing is just to paste it wherever you want to paste. For example, if you're using a Instagram account and you forgot the password, you execute the program, and the program will copy the password for Instagram. And what you have to do is you have to just go to the Instagram page and paste your password, and you are ready to go. But what if that account is not present in the dictionary? A simple message saying that there is no account named Instagram, right? Just an example I'm giving. So this completes our program, right? I hope the program is easy to understand. Any doubt so far with respect to this program? Anybody? Any particular instruction of the program which is not clear and you want me to explain it once again? Yeah, please, guys.
So how do we write that email and log key? Something that was written in front of email and log.
Yeah, those are just the values we are putting, right? We have seen how dictionaries work, right?
Yeah.
These are just a simple strings that we are putting into the dictionary. We have a dictionary and we are predefining these values. So let's say I have my account email and I'm just assigning a password for it. So I'm manually
Okay.
entering these values here.
Okay.
How a basic dictionary works. We have already seen how a basic dictionary works, right? The
Yeah.
key value pair.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody else? Any doubt?
Sir, in if condition, what is that argv in bracket 1 given?
Okay.
sys.argv.
Okay. So let me open it. Yeah. So as I said, when we import this system module, right? Why we are importing system module? Because we are going to execute this program onto the command line, right? So in order to check whether this program will be means whether the command line is going to access this program or no, we have to import the system module, and this system module checks for the arguments, right? For in order to execute a program on command line will check whether the sufficient arguments are given by the user or no. So in order to check those arguments, this ARGV stands for argument value, right? So the module sys, uh, which is system dot argv, will check whether we have the number of arguments, sufficient number of arguments or no, which is in our case minimum two arguments has to be given, right? One is the name of the file which we are going to execute, which is pw.py, and second argument is the account itself, right? Let's say email. So minimum two argument has to be given in order to execute this program. So if any particular argument is missing, and when there is only one argument which is passed, this statement will go wrong, this condition will not get executed, and then the program will not execute simply, right? Because the number of arguments which are allowed, which are required to execute this program is comparatively less than required, right? So minimum there has to be two arguments. First one being the name of the file, and second one being the account, the name of the account itself. So we are checking whether this number of arguments are less than two or no, right? So I hope that answers your doubt? So this is basically system.argv is nothing but system.argument. So we are checking the length of the argument here, right? Anybody else? Yeah, anybody else? At least have a courtesy to say yes or no so that we can move ahead. Prajit says no. Thank you, Prajit. So if there are no doubts, we shall move ahead. So having been learned this, let's go ahead and type this whole program. For instance, I'll just copy this whole program and execute it and see what we get. Right. So let me close this. Right. So I have copy pasted the whole program here, and once you copy paste, make sure that you indent it properly, because few files, if they are not properly indented, the flow of the program gets disturbed. Okay. So now here we have the program ready with us, pw.py, which is password.python file, with the shebang and Python 3 label. So I've just included a comment that pw.py, it's an insecure, it's actually not secure, right? So it's an insecure password locker program. And we have created a dictionary passwords. In that we have different key and value pairs. For email, I have a password. For blog, I have a password stored. And for luggage, I have a password stored here. You can add or delete or whatever changes that you have to do. You can do it here in the program, separated by comma, right? And then once I have my dictionary ready with me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my command line argument ready by importing the system, and at the same time I'm going to import Piperclip for copying and pasting my passwords. So as I said now, before getting into the execution, we are going to check the number of arguments, whether the number of arguments is proper or no. That is, first argument being the name of the file, second being the account, the name of the account, and we are going to just for the user purpose, we are going to print the usage of this instruction. So what is the usage? It is simply copy the account password, right? Once we have that, we are going to exit from the system and store the value in that account. Now, whatever the input that we get from the account here, whatever the account will be, which will be stored in the variable account, we check whether that account is in the present in the password dictionary. If it is there, it gets into the if clause, it copies the password for that particular account, and it will also prompt a message to the user that the password for that particular account is copied to the clipboard. Right now, there will be nothing that will be happening on the screen when you see the output, right? The program will be smooth, I mean executed, but you will not be get a message of anything, but you will be just uh, you will at the back you will be having a copied password in the clipboard. So next step will be just to go to that particular website or whatever that account is and just paste that password, right? So it is just kind of a password retrieval, right? And the else part of the program says that if there is no account, I mean, if this clause gets false, that is when you don't have any account is in that dictionary passwords, it will simply prompt a message that there is no account named so and so. So this is all about our program. Now I've been trying executing, I've tried executing it using a command shell, but I think there is kind of a error with respect to it, but let me show you how to execute it so that it might not be the same error for you. Fine. So once you have this program ready, I hope you are ready with this program, or I would say you can take a screenshot of this program and later you can copy it or type it in your Python ideally. And those who don't have this laptop, those are not working on Python ideally right now, you can make a note of this program. Please write this program. I would give you 2 minutes to write it. Okay. So how to execute this program now? Now you must have already created a file and you would have stored it as pw.py as a normal file how we save, right? But after that, since we are making the command prompt to execute this program, we have to create one more file which is called a batch file. Right now, batch file will be required. It will be batch file will be responsible for executing this particular file, right? This Python program. How do we create this batch file? Let me show you simply. Now, according to the author, if you are using Windows, you can create a batch file uh, by using Windows R command, right? You can press Windows R window and into a particular any file editor. In any file editor, you can just create a simple text file with these information, because it may happen that the location in which your Python is installed in your machine is different, and the location in my device is different, and the location shown here for the author is different, right? So this instruction might vary, but this is where your Python file is stored, right? So wherever you're storing this pw.py, that location should come here, right? Now, once you have this file ready, you have to save it as pw.bat, right? Now, pw.bat indicates that it is a batch file. So you can see a slight change in the icon of the batch file. I will show you shortly. And once you save this file as a batch file, now you have to go to the command and execute this Python file. Uh, right, I'll show you how to do it. Or let's say my file is this pw.py, but I don't know why for some reason this I am getting some error. I will sort it out later, but I'll show you the execution. Maybe the error you might not get the same error in your case. So this is my file which is stored, the program which is stored here in this file, right? pw.py, right? And it is stored in this location in my PC, right? So I have my Python installation files, all these files here, as well as whatever the programs that we have seen earlier in the previous example, in the previous modules. I have all my files saved here. So as you can see, I have my pw file stored here, right? Let me show you. Okay. So as you can see here, this is my pw.py file, right? Now this file I have saved, this is ready. Now what I have to do is you have to create a new text document. You can just go to new, create a text document, and you'll get a blank text, right? And you have to type, let me show you that. You have to go to text document and open that text, and you can try these instructions, right? These copy these instructions here, and you can paste it in your text file. But uh, you make sure that you make the changes here, right? For example, my my Python file, which is this file, is stored in this location. I'm just going to simply copy this and paste it in this location, right? So now I have my text file ready here, and I'll just quickly glance. I mean, walk you through what is this instruction doing. So this is actually a batch file which will be going to execute a Python exe file, Python application file stored at this location, and this is the Python file which it has to execute, right? And now in order to make it run through Windows R, Windows run command, you have to make use of this character, that is percentage and star, right? Which will help the this batch file execute at the Windows R also. And also you have to mandatorily give a @pause indication. Uh, Let me highlight it. Yeah, @pause, because the pause what will do is once your program gets executed, the program the terminal automatically gets terminated. So in that case, we will not be able to see the output, right? So in order to view that output, we have to pause there after execution. That is the reason of having this pause here. So let's save this. Now I will go and save as batch file. Now since there is no batch file here, I'm going to select save as all files and I'm going to rename it as pw.bat, right? pw.bat. Now pw is my file name and bat is the type extension, which indicates it's a batch file. So now I'm going to save it. So since I have already created when I was doing this program, it is asking me for a replacement. I'll say yes. Once I replace it, and now this is just a text. I am going to just simply cut it. And now I'm going to open my command prompt. So you can simply say Windows R, let's say CMD. You can get the command prompt. Now, as you can see here, I am into a different folder, right? I am into C drive users and my name. So in order to go into where is my application file? My application file is here, right? My Python application, as you can see here, this is my exe file. Let me show you. You go to properties, and as you can see here, it's an exe file. So my exe file is stored in this location. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just simply copy this location, go to the command and say push D, which is actually going to push my directory to this location, right? So I'm now into this folder, right? I'm now into this folder where my Python is stored, where my program password file is stored, and also my pw dat file, the batch file is stored, right? So now let me try it. py pw.py. So what I'm doing is I'm executing a Python file. So in order to make the command aware that it's a Python file, I'm going to enter py space pw.py, which is name of my file, and let's say I'll give account as email. But as you can see here, I'm getting an error, which is, I believe this is something with respect to the location, but maybe this error you will not get in your case. So just check it out for that. Fine. So maybe the problem is with respect to some location. I'll sort it out maybe in the next class. We will see that. But you should be, I mean, some people at least they should be able to get this output with this method, right? So that's how we executed it. And once this file gets executed, you get the password saved in the clipboard, and later you can uh, print it wherever you want. So just for your reference, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, yeah, I have just gone through a YouTube video here. So I'll just leave the link of this YouTube video in the meeting chat box. So just go through it. Yeah. So I've just copy this link, and later you can visit this YouTube video, which will help you to how to create this batch file and how to uh, execute this program using the command line, using the at the command line, right? So hopefully that should be executing your program. I'll check it out. What is the issue with? I think the problem is with my machine, so I'll be able to sort it out maybe later. We'll see that. Fine. So let's conclude here. And with that, I would leave up to you with another project called adding bullets to wiki markup. So this is a very easy project, again, very simpler one. What it'll do is it'll simply intake some strings, some statements, and it'll add star to all these statements, right? So simple as that. So it'll add simply bullets to all the wiki markups. Wiki markups is nothing but the whatever the bullet points or the statement that we give, it'll simply going to add bullets to it. So how to do it? It'll copy and paste from the clipboard, right? It'll copy and paste the text, and whenever it copies, for every new text, it'll separate it that text to the from the previous text. So it'll print on the separate line. So separate the line for text, and when it is separating, it'll add simply the text, the asterisk symbol or the star symbol, right? And then you are just going to join the modified lines. So, for example, as you can see here, what we are going to do is the the other things remain same. This is the shebang. There is just a comment, right? It will add the bullet points to all these statements. So for that, we have to include the paperclip again, which is going to copy and paste the text separated by the new line. So here you can see we are going to take that line, split that line into the text with separating /n, which is new line, and for every new line we are going to add a star, right? So the number of lines we have, number of stars gets added, and ultimately we're going to join that text using the join method, and then we have something like this, right? We will have something like this. So this text will be getting converted into something like this. So this is just a like how can we add bullets. So it's a very simple program again. So just go through it, try to execute this program again, and this will be your small assignment for today. Fine. So with this, we shall conclude the lecture. If you have any further doubts, you can ask me maybe in the next class because we have already elapsed the time. So save your doubts with you, and we can meet. We will meet in the next lecture. We will discuss all these doubts in the next lecture. Thank you. You can leave the meeting.